So I hope you enjoyed that little clip of me dancing. And right now, you are going to see one of the reasons why I love VR, other than dancing in VR and in Half-Life. Next up, let me show you what it's like to be a fighter in a fantasy dark world. And a badass too. As I was playing this game on my Oculus Quest, actually, I thought to myself, wow, we've finally done it in VR technology when I can feel like something that I never thought I could feel like. I can feel like a complete other crazy ass badass. I can rip the spines out of these warriors. I can slash them. I can punch them. I can explode them with magic. I can be a magician fighter in another world and into another life. Now, how crazy is it that something that I loved as a kid that I thought would never happen is now a common occurrence? Back in the day when I was growing up, you saw things like VR in movies, games, comic books, TV shows. You just saw it all come to fruition. You thought, I can't wait for that to happen. But then you thought, it's never going to happen. Like, I remember the first time, I think it was around 2005, there was a VR video uploaded from the 90s. Because I remember reading it in like a little old magazine from the 90s, and I went, I wonder if there's anything like information on this. Looked it up on the internet. There was an old video. And showed me this giant, like, it's something out of Robocop and Terminator. You put it on your head and they could connect you into this giant freaking, like, basically a giant bed or something. Like you could stand on. It was just huge. And I was like, that's never going to happen. There's no way in hell VR will become a thing. Then, of course, 5, 6, 7 years later, when Oculus started to become a thing, VR then took off. And then when it came to, well, this generation, since this generation of consoles is still this generation, VR became a thing for consoles. 2016, the PSVR came out, and it was amazing. It wasn't perfect. You needed the headset, plus a PlayStation, plus the really badly and poorly made Move controllers that haven't evolved since 2010, and the camera. But when you got it all working, you were in this other world, from Skyrim to Doom to everything. You could live in another world, and it was fantastic. And then you thought, how could it get better than this? As you were tripping over your really long cords of shit, basically. You fast forward a couple years to 2019, and the Oculus Quest came out. Now, beforehand, we had the Oculus. They were the pinnacle, basically, of VR. They were pushing VR out and evolving it every year or two. And then you would have the PC VRs. It'd cost you an arm and a leg. You'd connect them into your arm and a leg, basically computer, camera, and you'd have like 4 of them around the room. And as great as you could have an experience like that, fantastic graphics, you could move 360 degrees and all that, up, down, left, right, up and down, and all that, almost no cords. It still sort of sucked because you still had a lot of big cords and you needed to have all these giant cameras on these pedestals and stuff, and you thought, oh, shit, this is quite big, because you'd have to, if you wanted, unless you had a room set out for VR, you had to pack it down and then put it away. Then when you wanted to play VR, you had to get it back out and you had to set it all up and all that. It wasn't the best. But then the Oculus Quest came out, and that to me is the future. That is the stage 1 of the future of VR. First of all, it's just a headset and your controllers. No external cameras needed. All the cameras are in there, are all on the device itself. You get a fairly good 5 to 6 plus hour battery, depending on the game you play. You have a really good controllers. Like, if you going from my Oculus Quest and then playing my PSVR, I'm kind of like, why can't I just connect these controllers to my PlayStation VR? Because they'd be perfect. These would be perfect for gaming on the PSVR. Like, damn you, Sony, for not actually updating your Move controllers. And then the best part is, if you sideload Virtual Desktop, you can play PC games streaming, if you've got a good enough internet and a better modem and 5G and all that, to your Quest headset. Now, of course, for free, with the Quest headset, you can connect into your computer and stuff, and that's great, but you need a big cord, and playing with a cord is not as good when you have free motion. To play a VR game with free motion, to be able to go up, down, to be able to look behind you, move around, kind of go in circles and not get caught up in cords, it's amazing. It is the future of VR. And it made me go, wow, we are here. We are finally here. And I cannot wait for the evolution of this. Because really, to evolve this, the Oculus Quest, all you really need is better graphics, because the graphics aren't the best. It's everything's locked to 72 frames per second. It's not the highest resolution. It looks great, but it's not the highest resolution. And games kind of like what you'd expect from like basically 2003, 2004 kind of graphics. Depending on the style and how much you can push out of it, it's not the best graphics wise. Even though you can still get some great games which kind of make you feel like you're there. But that doesn't really matter when you can stream PC gaming onto your Quest. Because when you stream and you've got the latency of 1-to-1 basically, it feels like you're there. The graphics look great. The effects, the physics keeps working and stuff. It's fantastic, and it makes you go, wow, this is I love this shit. I tell you, the first time I actually got virtual desktop working, I was like, okay, I'm never leaving again. And then there's some like other things you can, if, for example, we live in a world where, at least in 2020, we can't really go out to cinemas and stuff. You can connect your Quest to your PC via virtual desktop. You can sit down on your couch, you can have a bowl of popcorn, and you can watch your favorite TV show or movie streaming. But what's even better is it's like, you know what? I want to watch this movie in a New York apartment. You can make it a New York apartment. If you want to make it look like you're in a spaceship, you can do that. If you want to make it look like you're in a cinema, you can do that. And I tell you, when you've got some great headphones in and you've got it set to a cinema and you're sitting there eating popcorn, it feels pretty damn real. It feels pretty great. There were times where I'm like, I'm in a cinema by myself. It's actually pretty cool. VR is becoming something that I'm just excited for the future. And if we just take the concept of what the Oculus Quest is and we just evolve that, within 10-20 years we will have the perfect VR vision that we see in Ready Player One. Well, whether or not we'll warp our brains and reality and stuff and we'll get control and stuff, that's, you know, we'll get to that bridge when we get to that bridge, you know. But for now, to be able to be in these different games and to be able to pull off what I just pulled off there. I can be a sorcerer, I can be an assassin, I can be a fighter in this fantasy cyber world. I can be a Viking as a god of Asgard. I can be a zombie survivor in this apocalypse universe where I've got to survive in a sort of RPG. I can be a World War II fighter. I can be a space marine in another world. It's so beautiful to see. I could be Serious Sam and just shoot people up. It's so fantastic that VR, especially when you look at it what it was in the early and mid 90s and what they had. Those big giant, like I said, Robocop and Terminator sort of headsets, to now, to just a small little thing you just put on your head and you're in another world. It's honestly remarkable. And as a kid who grew up with a lot of video games and such, I'm excited to see that I can now become a part of those video games. I can live inside them. I can't wait. Anyway, that's Aussie Viking. I shall see you all in Valhalla. Bye.